For a 10-year-old kid in North Carolina named Jimmy Donaldson, playing baseball was the only thing that mattered. But severe stomach pains and sudden weight loss led to a Crohn's disease diagnosis, permanently ending his athletic ambitions. He was suddenly an introverted kid with a massive void to fill. He filled that void with YouTube. For over 6 years, Jimmy uploaded videos using whatever low-tech gear he could find, starting with a Windows phone and eventually a secondhand iPhone. Despite years of consistent uploads, his audience barely grew. As he reached adulthood, the pressure to abandon the internet mounted. His mother laid out a strict ultimatum: enroll in college or move out of the house. Jimmy chose a third option. Every morning, he packed his bags and pretended to drive to campus. Instead, he stayed behind to secretly film videos with his childhood friend. The urgency to avoid a traditional life forced Jimmy to stop treating video creation as a hobby. He began viewing the platform as a system of variables that could be isolated and optimized. His first tactic to force the algorithm to notice him was brute force effort. He filmed himself counting to 100,000. It took 40 agonizing hours to complete, but the dedication finally triggered a spike in viewership. That initial traction attracted a sponsor named Quid, who offered him $5,000 for a video integration. Jimmy negotiated them up to $10,000, guaranteeing the brand that the video would perform exceptionally well. What he did next proved his theory. He walked down the street and handed the entire stack of cash to a local homeless man. When he uploaded the footage, viewership skyrocketed. The reason it worked comes down to behavioral science. Watching extreme acts of charity directly stimulates the brain's reward centers, leaving viewers with a sense of satisfaction and driving them to share the experience. Jimmy saw that the platform's recommendation engine is optimized to measure human interest. By feeding the system with content that triggers universal emotional responses, he could effectively direct the algorithm's reach. Catching lightning in a bottle once is entirely different from building a sustainable empire. To scale his reach, he had to engineer a way to guarantee people would click on a video before the first second even played. He spent 8 years dissecting the mechanics of visual perception, focusing on the thumbnail as the primary filter for a viewer's attention. The first rule he isolated was color theory. By mapping contrasting colors, like placing a highly saturated red against a bright green, he could force the image to stand out aggressively against the platform's white or dark backgrounds. Next came the rule of thirds. By dividing the canvas into a 3x3 grid, his designers placed the primary subject perfectly on the intersecting points, making the frame look instantly professional. Finally, they apply the rule of symmetry. If one side of the image holds a heavy subject, they offset it with a background element on the opposite side to establish a natural balance for the human eye. To this day, his team refuses to hit the upload button until the accompanying image passes all 3 of these specific visual tests. By strictly adhering to these constraints, generating a click ceases to be a guessing game. It becomes a reliable, calculated physiological response. But convincing a viewer to click is only half the battle. If they abandon the video right away, the platform stops recommending it entirely. This chart shows the exact minute-by-minute viewer retention architecture Jimmy uses to prevent audience drop-off. It starts with the first 10 seconds. The opening shot must immediately confirm the promise of the title and thumbnail. This creates a quick baseline of trust. From 10 seconds to the 1-minute mark, the story accelerates. The script relies on high-speed pacing and a series of minor stunts to push the audience past the period where most people typically get distracted and leave. Right at that 1-minute threshold, when boredom usually sets in, he cuts to an animated sequence, teasing the video's ultimate payoff. Then, exactly at the 3-minute mark, another major visual stunt resets the audience's attention. Watching a MrBeast video feels effortless, but the underlying structure is intensely rigid. It relies on precisely timed narrative hits designed to repeatedly trigger the viewer's dopamine system. For over a decade, Jimmy took every dollar generated by this formula and reinvested it straight into the next production. By treating content like compounding interest, his reach grew exponentially. Today, that reinvestment cycle has produced a net worth exceeding $1 billion. He manages physical product lines like Feastables and crossed into traditional media by producing a $100 million reality show for Amazon Prime. It is a massive commercial empire built entirely by a kid who used to be too sick to play sports and too introverted to speak up in class. His optimized approach forced thousands of competitors in the creator economy to either adopt his exact pacing and design standards or fade into obscurity. Jimmy Donaldson didn't stumble into an internet fortune. By standardizing every click and every minute of attention through composition and timing, he showed that a channel's growth can be engineered through a repeatable set of rules.